You gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis.
What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. You look good, Coach.
Oh, trying. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. Tuesday, December 2nd. Thank you guys so much for joining us wherever you are around the Quad City area, around the Midwest in the state of Iowa, Illinois. We appreciate you joining us here today. You look outside, and it's another wintry December day here in the Quad Cities. Added a couple more inches of snow onto what we got over the weekend. So it's a great day, as I always say, to stay inside, stay warm. Let me help you get you through your workday, wherever you are. We got a lot to get to on today's show. If you're watching us live on YouTube, we appreciate that. Thank you for doing that. If you have subscribed, thank you. If you have not subscribed, what are you doing with your life? Come on, let's get subscribed. Tell a friend or 2 or 10 about what we're doing each and every weekday right here at 10 a.m. off the air, talking a bunch of sports and a little bit of everything else in between. We're also live on X. X has been very, very good to us, and make sure you're giving us your feedback, whether it's the YouTube chat, which was extremely active yesterday, and we love that, or on X or wherever you're at. Give us your feedback, give us your thoughts on what we're talking about in the world of sports, and we got some good things to get to today. We're also available on your podcasting platforms as well. So if you, all you got to do is go to wherever you go to, Spotify, Apple, Podbean, iHeart, wherever you get your podcast, put in Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, and you can listen to the show each and every day, which I always say is much better than looking at me by far. So thank you for those everydayers that do that every single day. I've heard from you. I appreciate that. So wherever you're at tonight, coming home from work or wherever, thank you for listening to the show as well. And then welcome to our viewers in Central Iowa as well. Each and every night we're on in Central Iowa on WHO's streaming channel as well. So 7 p.m. We've appreciated that. We've gotten some good feedback from the great folks in Central Iowa as well. So welcome to you guys as well. It's been a crazy busy time in the world of sports, which is good for us. It means we have plenty to talk about each and every day here on the show. And once again, we've got a loaded show to get to today. If you missed yesterday's show, go back and check it out. Kyle Huseman was on to talk about the Iowa women's basketball team. We talked to Devin Marshall from Rock Island, a junior that scored 53 points in one game. That's a school record at Rock Island High School, and that's a high school that's had a heck of a lot of talent over the years. Pete Michael, Monte Jenkins, Chasen Randall, Tyler Hall, Amarian Nimmers, just to name a few. So fantastic young man. Go check that out if you missed that as well. We also talked with John Marks yesterday and Greg Armstrong, catching up with high school football in Illinois, which will wrap up tonight in 5A and 6A with state championship games, and then tomorrow in 7A and 8A because of the postponement from over the weekend because of the weather. So go check out yesterday's show, but that was then. Don't do that right now. Stay locked right here. We got a great show for you. Coming up in a matter of moments, we'll have Chad Leistikow joining us, one of the best on the Iowa beat when it comes to everything. His writing and articles are awesome, but podcasts, all that kind of stuff. Chad kills it. He's going to join us to talk a lot of Iowa football and basketball. What are we going to remember this Iowa football team for, or as? We're going to talk to Chad about that, what the future looks like, the bowl future, and then next year as well. We'll also get you set for Iowa, Michigan State, the Big Ten opener tonight, coming up. I think it's 6 o'clock is the tip time in that one up in East Lansing. So tough way to start the Big Ten schedule for Iowa, a trip to East Lansing, but undefeated, 7-0 under Ben McCollum. So we'll kind of preview that much more with Chad coming up in just a matter of moments. We'll also talk Illini. Illinois 8-4 after this season. They're heading to a bowl game as well. It is the third time in 4 years that Illinois has won at least 8 games. And there's still people that are cranky. One of those people is not Kedric Prince. He is not cranky. He always has his opinions, and he'll join us later in hour 1 to talk about the Illini and those kind of things, and more college football with Ked as well. Looking forward to that. And then in hour number 2, my good friend Bobby Metcalf, a longtime sports writer here in the Quad Cities, is now working as a producer television-wise in Columbus, is going to be on with me. We're going to talk about the Big Ten championship game coming up between the Buckeyes and the Hoosiers coming up on Saturday. Also, big Bears fan. So I want to talk to him about. He's a big Bears fan. I should be specific, not me. Him. I want to rank the last 5 games for the Bears. What's the hardest? What's the easiest? As they sit as the number 1 seed going into Week 14 of the NFL season in the NFC at 9-3, and they started the season 0-2, so they won 9 of the last 10 games. The Bears are for real. So we'll talk more about that and a lot more coming up on today's show. But enough listening to me chat about myself and what's coming up. Let's get right to it. And we're going to start with, as I mentioned, a familiar face and one of the best to do it in the state of Iowa. So joining me right now, one of the best in the business when it comes to the Iowa beat and life in general, Chad Leistikow. It's been a while, my friend. It's so busy this time of year and in the fall as well. So I try to leave you alone a little bit. Is it still crazy busy, I'm sure, for you right now?
Yeah, I was just telling my boss actually that I feel like December and April are in our business, at least for what I do, like mirages of like, you feel like there's this oasis of rest coming at the end of football season after March Madness. But I feel like December and April, honestly, end up being busier because there's like so much going on, spring football, like transfer portal stuff in April. And right now it's signing day this week, Iowa basketball coming up with a couple huge games, one tonight against Michigan State, next week against Iowa State, Cy-Hawk week up in Ames. Obviously, portal season's already starting to trickle, and who knows, but not complaining, but I'm just saying, like, I always feel like, finally to take a breath. People ask me that all the time. You finally get to relax? I was like, no, not really.
Yeah, no, never. But you know what? And Tommy always says it. I'm not complaining, and I know you're not either, because we get
you
to
ask.
We get no, I get, and we get to do. Well, you work a lot harder than I do these days, obviously. Chad, I want to start with football. I think, although I'm really intrigued by this Iowa basketball team, but I want to start with football because they just got done with Nebraska. I mean, and I'm stealing it from Doc because I saw Doc tweet it, but in the rivalry games, 118-19 with those 3 Big Ten rivals when it comes to the trophies. I think it's a really good Iowa football team. Your thoughts, just big, what will you remember the most, or what will this Iowa football team be remembered as in 2025?
Yeah. When you ask me that question, I think the play that sums the whole season up for me is Mark Gronowski's 4th and goal run against Oregon that put him ahead 16-15, because that was the type of moment that you craved as a Hawkeye fan, that your offense could make a play and do it, and yet it ended up being a close call loss. And that's kind of what this season ended up being. 4 very close calls against all very good teams, especially Iowa State. If you look back at that game, I mean, that was the peak of sort of Iowa State's season. I feel like, they ended up hitting some injuries. They ended up going 8-4, but that was probably the best Iowa State was playing at the beginning of the season there. And that was about the worst that Iowa was playing. So you couple that with the Indiana loss, Gronowski goes out. They win that game. I firmly believe they win that game if he does not get hurt. It happened, though, so they lost the game. And then, of course, you're out by maybe a shoe size at USC within that of potentially coming back for a win on Caden Weechen's catch. And then the Oregon, late March in the rain to kick a field goal, miraculous play kind of on the sideline against TJ Hall there. So that's kind of what I think this season will kind of be remembered for. But like the fact that they were competitive with everybody, they've been blown out by the big dogs, for pretty much the last 4 years.
Yeah.
You go back to the end of 21 to all the way till this year. I mean, it was rough. And so I do think that the program made some progress, did not get over the hump, to get into the college football playoff. I think they had a team worthy of the playoff if they just get a couple of those wins there. But, right now this is basically around a 25th ranked team with 1 bowl game to go.
Chad, you look at it and you look at, I think people forget about the Oregon game, and they remember the drive to win it and all those kind of things, and the 2-point conversion that wasn't. I mean, they snapped a ball over a puncher's head that never happens. I mean, and that's 2 points, and that's the. So there's so many times you can go through and look at how close they really were. There's been some really fun stories, like individually with this team as well. And you've done a great job of highlighting some of those. And is there one, let's go each side of the football. On the offensive side of the football, I mean, I'm asking you to pick if Mark Gronowski's story is better than Caden Weegen's story, which is tough to do or whatever. But where offensively, what was the fun individual story you got to see on the offensive side of the football? Or was it simply they were decent on offense, which is probably a story in itself?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I mean, the stat that I keep kind of throwing out there, and I think it's worth repeating because it's not what Iowa has been for a while, is Mark Gronowski had 3 fourth-quarter game-winning drives when Iowa was behind. At Rutgers, people probably don't remember that far back now, but he made a clutch 42-yard throw to Dayton Howard when Iowa was down 28-24 with about 5 minutes to go in that game. Maybe it was 7. They ended up winning at 38-28. But that was a time of the season where it was like you didn't quite know what you had in Mark Gronowski, and then he kind of showed, what he was made of at Rutgers. I mean, Iowa kept falling behind, and he kept bringing them back. Every time Iowa would go down, he would lead a touchdown drive. And so, so he had 3 fourth-quarter winning drives, Rutgers, Penn State, Michigan State. And really, I mean, Oregon, he did it. He just never got the ball back. Indiana, he wasn't in there. And then you think about USC, he almost did it. I mean, with 3 backup linemen, he ran the ball down the field. They got to the 20, like inside the 30. And obviously if that pass to Weegen is complete, he's at the 7. That's an if. I mean, I'm not saying he did it, but this is an offense that gave you a chance every week. And I think that's what's kind of been different about this team. And so, yeah, to me, Gronowski was their best player on offense, but certainly probably the best story has to be Caden Weechen because, I think you could justify him as, if you did a top 10 MVPs in the Big Ten this year, I think he would be, you should consider him among the 10 best players or most impactful players in the Big Ten. I mean, for what he did in the return game, I mean, he quite literally, won them the Michigan State game and certainly had, touchdowns against Minnesota, Rutgers, and, had a big one against Nebraska the other day. I mean, the guy, that's just an unbelievable story. He's going to be a first-team All-American, and there's no doubt about it. So and I'm sure he'll be return specialist of the year in the Big Ten again. So he's been something else, and that's a walk-on from Williamsburg. So pretty crazy that he broke Tim Dwight's records and all that. So on offense, that's on offense. Defense, it's a tougher decision, I would say, but probably the best story. Yeah, there's a lot of them. I mean, TJ Hall going from a guy that was kind of beaten up last year a little bit to their number 1 corner. He had a terrific year. And I really like how Xavier Wampa sort of had a nice senior year. Didn't probably have the career that he wanted his first 3 years, but I felt like he played his best football as a senior. And when it comes to hey, here's a future star potentially. I mean, Zach Lutmer, I just turned in my All Big Ten media ballot. We're not supposed to talk about it, but I would say of the guys on the defense, he got my highest vote among Hawkeyes on defense because I think he was their most valuable defensive player this year.
Yeah, and I think he's probably their best player on defense going into next year as well. Let me talk future football with you real quick when it comes to the future for this year, and then I want to talk a little bit about the future next year because it's fascinating to me. This year it's Tampa, right? And do we guess on an opponent when it comes to a bowl game?
The guess would be Vanderbilt. I mean, we'll see how the playoff stuff shakes out, but my buddy Scott Docterman, who basically does this for The Athletic, and so he's as plugged in. Honestly, he's more plugged in than anyone on the Iowa football staff is, because he does all these bowls, and he's pretty sure it'll be Michigan, Texas in the Citrus, and then we'll see who Iowa will definitely go to Tampa. I mean, there's almost a 0.001 chance that doesn't happen, because the Pac-12 legacy teams have to go to their old bowls, so they're not tied into the ReliaQuest. So they're tied into like the Vegas Bowl, the Alamo Bowl, those types of things, the Holiday Bowl, those types of things that we're accustomed to for Pac-10, Pac-12 teams. So really that, so the Outback / ReliaQuest, it's not Outback anymore, but we'll be picking from, they've already picked, but we'll be picking from Iowa, Illinois, Nebraska, Penn State, Minnesota. So obviously they're going to take Iowa, which hasn't been there since 2018. And we'll see what happens with the playoff. Alabama was in the ReliaQuest last year, so if they don't make the playoff, they probably won't be in Tampa this year. So Vanderbilt is the natural. If the Commodores don't get into the playoff, I don't think they'll get in at 10-2. But that would be a fun matchup if indeed Diego Pavia plays and Phil Parker gets to go against him.
Yeah, no, it'd be fun to see. I really think Iowa, regardless, as talking to a few friends about their bowl game, and they're going to come play. They're going to go, and I don't think you're going to see Mark Gronowski opt out or anybody opt out when it comes to that football. They might have a few along the way, but I think for the most part, Iowa's going to win a football game and get that 9th victory of the season. And bowl games, that means a lot, because not every program is like that. They're all looking for, because it's weird. Like, we'll talk about the calendar in college football. It's so weird right now. Long-term future for Iowa next year, Chad, it's hard to say like what this team will look like, because there's probably going to be some changes along the way when it comes to some additions and all those kind of things. I'm intrigued by some of the young talent on this roster. I know they lose a really good senior group, especially in the trenches. What are your thoughts for Iowa football next year when it comes to how good they can be?
The trenches are going to take a hit.
Yeah.
I mean, they start 4 seniors on the defensive line. Aaron Graves, logged so many snaps this year. I mean, they basically went with a 3-man rotation at D tackle, and he pretty much played the whole time, stood up for the whole season. That's going to be a huge loss. Obviously, you take 50-year senior, 60-year senior, Max Llewellyn and Ethan Herkett off the edge. That's going to hurt in terms of just veteran presence. Herkett was very underappreciated for just how reliable he was. And then obviously Jonah Pace ended up being a pretty good transfer. So you lose all 4 of those on defense. That's probably my biggest concern going into next year, especially at D tackle. Like Kelvin Bell, we talked to last week before the maybe it was before the Michigan State game. I think it was, yeah. But he's like very excited about the future of that entire room. Now, Yosei Epinesa, got to save his year, so he's going to just be a freshman next year. I think he's going to be tremendous. Brian Allen gets to come back for a final year. Now, that's assuming everybody comes back. Kenneth Merriweather, Joseph Anderson. I mean, there's a lot of guys on the edges. I think they're going to be just fine out there. Interior-wise is where, they're probably going to have to get some portal help in this case. Bryce Hawthorne, the only real true rotation guy that they bring back. Now, he was pretty good this year, but he didn't log a ton of snaps. I mean, he was getting about 20 a game, 25 a game. So that's going to be probably my biggest concern. I think linebackers will be improved. Those young guys are going to be fantastic. Yeah. Secondary, whether Cohen Entringer stays or not, that's probably the only stay or go decision that's sort of at large that I know of in terms of underclassmen. But even so, feel pretty good about, Lutmer, some of the other guys they're young. They'll be young in the secondary, but Watson, Godfrey, Wallace, Deshaun Lee, those guys all got a lot of that. They basically played the whole game against Nebraska, all 4 of them. So, that if you think about it that way, the guys that play, other than Wampa, those guys all played that entire Nebraska game pretty much. So, not going to say that's a solve, but defense will take a little hit for sure. Offensive line, I'm not as concerned about offensive line. I know they lose amazing talent. They're going to lose probably the first-team All-American center in Logan Jones. Bo Stevens was fantastic. Jennings Dunker was fantastic. But Trevor Locke played really well at left tackle this year. Cade Pieper was outstanding at right guard. They're real excited to get Mike Mislinski back for a 6th year. Leighton Jones was their top rotational guy. So to me, I think they've got 4 solid guys coming back, and then what do they do at that other tackle spot? Jack Dotzler would probably be your first candidate, but maybe they bring someone in the portal, or maybe they develop someone. That's come along, and then you feel pretty good, and you feel great about tight end Addison Estrenga, DJ Vaname. That's going to be way better than this year, in terms of experience. And then receiver, I think that's probably where you really got to add somebody. Receiver, you're going to lose 4 seniors, including Weegan, including Phillips, including Gill, Seth Anderson. You lose all those guys. And then you didn't get a ton of production outside of Vanderzee, I would say, from that position. So going to need somebody there. Running backs, they probably feel good about. And then we'll see about quarterback. I mean, I would expect they're not going to make a move in the portal unless they lose a bunch. I know they lost Stratton already. I'm guessing Ryan Fitzgerald follows his dad to Michigan State. Don't know that for sure. So they might need to replenish a little bit at quarterback. But if you bring back Heklinski, Brown, Jimmy Sullivan, and you're bringing in this kid from Utah who's a very highly ranked recruit, you still got 4 real quality guys in that room to get started.
I got to ask because we got to get to basketball. But
Yep.
Heklinski, everything I've heard, they really like in practice. I know that Hank Brown's done some nice things. What have you heard about Heklinski? And he seems to be that type of maybe dual threat guy that you've kind of seen with Mark Gronowski that can hurt you with your feet and his arm as well.
Yeah, I think what little we've seen of Heklinski, he can move a little bit. He's definitely not the same type of runner that Gronowski is, but you got to have some mobility at quarterback, and I think he has that. Brown isn't completely immobile, but probably a little less, it seems like. But I think this is a really big month for both those guys, and I think the best case scenario for Tim Lester is that both those guys stay. I mean, the portal window opens here in about a month, and and there's no spring portal period anymore for non-graduates. So these guys would be, if they stay, they're staying. And, that would be good for Iowa to have a good battle going into the spring. So I would expect them not to make a move in the portal at quarterback and try to see what a guy in a second, third year of a Tim Lester system can do as these years progress, because they really haven't had that luxury at all, with McNamara – Sullivan / Stratton last year, with Gronowski this year. I mean, Brown was brand new, and he got thrown into the Indiana game. So you'd like to see somebody in a year 2, year 3, get a shot, to see what this Lester system can do in the passing game, because that was lacking this year.
Chad Leistikow joining us right now on Off Day with Matt Randazzo. Quickly, can I ask you about the craziness of college football? And does it make Iowa fans maybe appreciate, or should make Iowa fans appreciate, what they do have in Iowa City when you look at the soap opera in the SEC and everybody doing crazy things and getting rid of people early? And doesn't it kind of make Iowa fans say, don't complain about what you got, because it's pretty stable?
I would think so. I mean, right now I wouldn't want to be searching for a coach. I don't know where the things stand with Penn State right now, but that's got to be I'm glad I'm not covering the Penn State coaching search. That would be a nightmare. I mean, it's been open for so long. You're seeing James Franklin just pile up recruits at Virginia Tech. And then you're seeing, Pat Fitzgerald's going to Michigan State. You're seeing Florida and LSU jobs get filled. Now there's Ole Miss filled its spot too, but just kind of, it is crazy. And I don't think it's not a great time right now to probably be searching, because there's honestly not that many great coaches out there right now, I don't feel like. So yeah, I assume Kirk's going to stay. He hasn't given any indication that he's moving on in any way. We'll talk to him tomorrow. We'll see what he's been telling recruits or whatever. But yeah, it feels, I feel like the program, if you had kind of a 6-6 type season, then people might be feeling differently. But I feel like the vibe among Iowa fans, it's not everyone, but I feel like the vibe among Iowa fans is pretty positive in terms of the direction of the program. They're bringing in quite a class tomorrow. Like they really hit a home run with this class. It seems like a lot of top kids. I mean, they're attracting offensive players now. They're attracting a really highly ranked quarterback. I like the receivers they're bringing in. They're loading up on the offensive line, which is so important to this program. So, and linebacker too. I mean, they are just absolutely loaded at linebacker. So it feels like the program's in a healthy spot.
Yeah. No, I would completely agree. And I like the programs or the classes they've had before them too. Like I think there's, like we've talked about, you talked about linebacker. It's already good on campus. And then they're going to add some really good ones in this next class. All right, basketball wise, it's Michigan State tonight. Hey, welcome to the Big Ten. Here comes Tom Izzo and a trip to East Lansing. Before we talk about that game in particular, and I've talked to several people who've seen them in person, all those kind of things, and they rave about what Ben McCollum's doing. Obviously, 7-0 is important and impressive. Maybe the body of the work when it comes to who they played isn't overly impressive, but what are your thoughts, what you've seen from this Iowa basketball team to start the season so far?
Obviously, impressed with how McCollum has handled everything. Like, I think probably the thing that stood out from the get-go was he brought Alvaro Folgueras off the bench. Brendan Hassan, who we thought was going to be like hey, he's going to probably play 30 minutes as a sharpshooter. He's like barely playing and coming off the bench, yet he's like saying he's having the most fun he's ever had playing college basketball. Like that's pretty eye-opening in terms of like the guys buying into McCollum's system. The Drake guys really they're good players. It's funny when you say something nice about Drake players, like, why didn't you know that last year? You live in Des Moines or whatever. It's like, yeah, I know, but I don't cover Drake, so I didn't like follow them that close. To be honest, until the NCAA tournament. And but now that you see these guys in person, I mean, they are legitimately really good players, obviously led by Bennett Sturts, but Tavion Banks is good. Cam Manyow is good. This Isaiah Howard kid is really got some fun game to him. And then how about Cooper Koch? I mean, I'm really happy for him. The one guy that did stay from the McCaffrey era, a legacy guy with, the son of J.R. Koch. And, man, he's having quite a start to this year. Like the way he plays defense, like that is eye-opening to me. That tells me that McCollum is getting through to these guys. You got to play defense to get on the court. Michigan State, man, they look really good. I mean, they blew out Kentucky. They've got a really good team. This is like the toughest test you can get. It might be a humbling night over in East Lansing potentially, but the spread's like 6.5. So they expect Iowa to stay pretty close, and that's kind of what I would think too. I think that spread's probably about right. But, I wouldn't be surprised if I was right in the game down the stretch. I wouldn't be surprised if Iowa loses by 20. I mean, this is going to be an eye-opening situation. I'm sure Izzo's got something cooked up for Bennett Sturts. Let's see how he handles it. It's all good to me. And I know we're going to talk NFL, but it's kind of similar. It's like with the team that I follow, like you're sort of building something now with a first-year coach, and it just feels like – anything you do is kind of gravy, but you're also like kind of got high hopes for this season. So I kind of like the vibe that this Iowa team has going into Big Ten play.
That's a really good comparison. Chad Leistikow joining us right now. Hey, Cooper Koch, I saw him in high school, and I thought he was going to be a good college basketball player. It looks different, Chad. If you would have told me this was the Cooper Koch that was so effective, I saw him being a pick and pop, shooting four. I didn't think he would be one and you mentioned the defense, and that's simply his new head coach. But then also the fact that he's so active on the boards. And he just, the way this Cooper Koch, I thought he'd be good. I just didn't think it would look like this right now, if that makes any sense. And he's doing it. He's affecting the game in so many different areas when it comes to, rebounding, loose balls, 50-50 stuff. I've really enjoyed watching that as well. You look at this team, you mentioned Hausen. The one thing I always concerns me with this team is physicality inside. And then when I think of the Big Ten and I think of physicality inside, I think of Michigan State and Tom Izzo and what he does. Is that a concern tonight? Kind of break down this game, because you mentioned Michigan State is really good and really talented. Kind of break down this game a little bit of what we might see tonight. And if Iowa was going to win, what would it look like? An Iowa victory look like?
Yeah, Tyler Tashman, my teammate at the Register, is on his way to East Lansing right now as we're recording, and he's going to be up there, so he'll have a hands-on report. He wrote a great preview, and basically the Hawkeyes will be Michigan State starts 2 true bigs, so it's going to be a real interesting test. I mean, that's something you didn't really see that against necessarily any opponent so far. They held up nicely rebounding wise against Ole Miss. But that was Ole Miss. This is Michigan State in the Breslin Center. And so I think that's going to be the biggest challenge. But you asked about a recipe for winning. Michigan State allows like 28% three. So they're obviously a very good defensive team. Big shock for Izzo. But I think if Iowa wins this game, I think they're hitting from three. I mean, I think it's like Fulgaris is hitting a couple, Koch is hitting a couple, Sturts is hitting maybe 4 or 5. I think you get to like maybe 11 3-pointers, that type of thing. You got a chance to win this thing. They're going to have to make their free throws. Like, I know, like, I don't know. You feel like they should make every free throw. And for the season, they're shooting 76%, but it doesn't really feel like they're shooting 76% to me. You're just going to have to go like, 17 for 20 at the line. You're just going to have to do a lot of little things perfect, not make dumb turnovers. But I do think, McCollum's team will get back on defense. They'll extend possessions as needed. I'm really excited to see how Sturts holds up. I mean, I think I don't know if he's like, is he like the second best player in the Big Ten, or maybe the best player? Is he a first teamer? We'll start to find out tonight.
Yeah, I get mad when he misses a free throw, and he has missed a couple. It's weird. It's like, why is he? He should make every shot he takes. It feels like a Brendan Housing game for me, where like
really?
it feels like if you just mentioned the threes, if he gets an opportunity to have somebody come in and make some shots, and maybe somebody who's kind of used to those kind of environments when it comes to where he's played before. I hope it is a Brendan Housing game, because they're going to need him. Hey, girls wise, before I let you go, women's wise, before I let you go, next week's Cyhawk games, you mentioned them at the beginning, and everybody focuses on the men's game, which is going to be a fascinating one as well. That women's one, Chad, like Audie Crooks scores 100 points a game, it feels like. She's Wilt Chamberlain, and the Iowa women are playing really good basketball. They got to get healthy. I know with Chit Chat and a few others, we'll find out maybe an injury update on her, Rodriguez, and Mulaney, maybe on Thursday, I think, is when the media gets Coach Jensen. But your thoughts on the Iowa women so far, and obviously next week is a huge game between Iowa State and Iowa. That's probably a top 10 team battle. I think they came out yesterday. I can't remember if they're both in the top 10.
I think Iowa might have dropped a spot to 12, but anyway, Iowa's 8-0. Iowa State's in the top 10. Yeah, that's Iowa does play Rutgers to open Big Ten play on Saturday over in Piscataway. Should be a win. Rutgers is not real great this year. Hopefully Chip Chat-Wright is back. That would help a lot. They're going to need her in Ames to handle that environment and what's coming there. I do think Iowa is somewhat built for Audie Crooks. I mean, I don't think they'll be able to stop her completely, but at least they've got more size now than they've had in the past with Ava Hayden, Layla Hayes, and then you throw Hannah Stolke in there to be able to help out, I guess, underneath. But that's going to be a huge challenge. Iowa State looks like that's a really good team. They got that Jada Williams girl at running the point that Iowa was recruiting. She made a visit to Iowa City, ended up picking the Cyclones, so that'll stand out for sure next Wednesday. I do think, thinking about next week, if Iowa splits the Cyhawk next week, I think that's kind of a victory, because I don't think they'll be favored in either matchup. Certainly not in the men. They won't be. Iowa's ranked in the net in the women's side ahead of Iowa State right now, but that kind of surprises me a little bit, the way Iowa State's been playing. So
yeah,
I think it's just kind of a lot like last year to me for the women. Like, I feel like they started 8-0 last year under Jan Jensen, but you felt like, but they're still kind of learning who they are. And I think they're still in that same boat this year. So next week probably will be an eye-opening moment to see where they truly are at. But they should be 9-0 heading into the Cyhawk, which is, that's the best you can do.
Yeah, no, it should be a great week. Hey, before I let you go, my wife was asking me the other night, hey, what do you want for Christmas? And I don't need anything. I don't want anything. But Chad, you could give me something for Christmas. Can I have my offensive coordinator back? Please.
Good, better, best. I know it. Yeah, I thought Dan Campbell was calling plays and going to solve everything.
No, it's and the Lions side of things. They're just. I mean, Ragnow announces he's unretired. I'm like celebrating,
news.
and then he's out. And then I just found out Terrion Arnold has a bad shoulder. He's going to be out for the season. And just,
really?
Not
Jeez,
like it's. I mean, injuries are injuries, but it just feels like I was telling somebody the other day. They won a game last year against the Texans on Sunday Night Football where Jared Goff threw the ball away 5 times, and they found a way to win the game. And while they found ways to win a lot last year, they're finding ways to those key plays aren't going their way this year. But I'm not talking about the Lions, the Bears. Chad, you went into Philadelphia and you had 2 dudes rush for over 125 yards. I did say that Ben Johnson would affect the running game more than anything else. You got to love what you're seeing with your Bears right now.
Yeah, so I'm trying not to get too excited about it because the Bears play at Green Bay this week, and we know how those games go as Bears fans typically. And the Bears are like first place in the division somehow, and the Packers are half game behind. So they're going to be pointing for that, and I think the spread's like 6, maybe even higher now. So I'm not expecting a win, but yeah, the fact is, people are trying to. They're at the point now where it's like, are the Bears really good? Well, they're 9-3, and they started 0-2, so they're doing the right things. They're playing really well in the fourth quarters of these games, and I think that's probably the most encouraging thing. Is the quarterback. He's not there yet, but the rest of the team has been, making enough plays to where they've got a chance in the fourth quarter, and then he's doing stuff. So just get him to the fourth quarter, and that's a great feeling, as a fan. And I know Hawkeye fans felt that this year with Mark Gronowski too. Yeah. It's like in the past you did, well, that's it. Spencer Petras, Deacon Hill, Cade Mack, they're not bringing us back from this. We're down 10 already. You didn't feel that way this year as a Hawkeye fan, and certainly that's been 100% the case with the Bears. Like they just somehow find ways to win. And, are they good? They lead the NFL in takeaways. So that's a pretty big stat that we know Kirk Ferentz points to. And they're second in the NFL in rushing.
Who's ahead of them?
Run the ball and turnovers. Bills. The Bills are still ahead of them. The Bears did start very slow.
Can I give you my prediction on the offseason for the Bears?
Yeah, sure.
You'll have a new running back next year.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that to slight DeAndre Swift. I mean, I was the Lion, and he was. But remember when the Lions got good the year they went 9-8, and they had Jamal Williams and they had DeAndre Swift, and they were running the football. Jamal Williams set the record for touchdowns in a season, broke Barry Sanders' record, and then in the offseason, they went and got David Montgomery, and they went and drafted Jahmyr Gibbs, and everybody thought they were crazy. Ben Johnson wants to run the football. And then when he thinks he's doing it really well, he wants to do it even better. Like, that's what my prediction for them is. I think Monangai is a guy that's around, and it's not DeAndre Swift is having an amazing season. And Bears fans will be like, wait a minute, we drafted a running back, or whatever he's going to do, but he's going to find a way to make that position, while really good, elite next year. And I'm going to hate it. And I'm going to hate you, and I'm going to hate Tom. I'm going to hate everything about it. But hopefully
it's not over yet. The Bears have plenty of chance to – if they lose to the Packers, I think they dropped to the 7th seed already. That's how tight the NFC is.
Somebody told me the other day, if the Lions wouldn't have lost to the Vikings, they'd be a half game out of the number 1 overall seed. Yeah. And I'm like, but – I was at that game, Chad, like my family, and I paid way too much money. There should be a little thing at the bottom of the ticket that says, if we lose, we'll give you half your money back, because NFL tickets are stupid, big, expensive. So like it really, really makes it bad. Prediction real quick for the Bears Packers before I let you go.
I'll say the Bears can't quite get it done. Let's say 23-20 Packers.
But it's Soldier 2 weeks later.
Yeah. If they can split the Packers, that would be fine. They got the Browns next week, so that would put them. If they can do that, that's a big if. Split the Packers and beat the Browns. They should beat the Browns at home. You would hope. 11-4 going into the last 2, which is at San Fran, and then
I hate that game.
Detroit. Home against Detroit, Week 18. The Lions, most likely, looking at the Lions' schedule, I'm guessing they're going to still be playing for a playoff spot unless things really fall apart, because they should beat the Cowboys, maybe lose at the Rams, should beat the Steelers. Definitely will beat the Vikings. So that's 3-1. So they'll be 10-6,
10
right?
6, yeah.
And the Bears
So
will probably be
11
They'll
and
probably
5.
lose it. They'll probably lose it. They'll probably lose at San Fran. So 11-5 going into that game.
And then if they
you
tie,
would sweep the Bears. You sweep
but
the Bears.
Chad, Dan ran up the damn score. Like, and at the time, I said, like, my brother's giving me high fives. I'm like, I don't feel good about this because, like, it's karma's a you know what. I try to keep it PG, even though it's on YouTube. But karma's you know what, and I'm just like, don't do. So, anyways, we'll wait and see. I love that we can chat about the Bears and Lions. We can agree on the Hawkeyes, Chad, and that's the beautiful thing about it is we can agree on the Hawkeyes. Big game tonight, Iowa at Michigan State. Chad, tell people quickly how they get all your content, the podcast. You are besides Pat Anger, you are the media face of the state of Iowa. I tell Pat he's like the media face, but tell everybody how to get your content.
Yeah, hawkcentral.com is the easiest way to kind of channel into everything. And then I do my show that comes out every Thursday morning with Scott Docterman at iowaeverywhere.com as well. But hawkcentral.com is where I make the big bucks. I'm just kidding. And that's where most of my stuff is housed. And yeah, we have our Hawk Central podcast comes out every Wednesday. We got a really good show. We're kind of previewing the off season as well for football tomorrow. So
Chad, I love it.
Thanks.
I appreciate you being on. Maybe I'll see you in Tampa. Maybe I'll talk to you about that
good.
later,
I hope you get to go.
Maybe you'll see me on Tampa. So, all right, buddy.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you soon. Appreciate you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. That is Chad Leistikow, the best in the business when it comes to covering the Hawkeyes and a good Bears fan. And there's good Bears fans. There's bad Bears fans. There's good fans all over when it comes to sports. The good fans and then the idiot fans. He's one of those good ones as well. So Iowa, Michigan State tonight at the Breslin Center. Iowa, I think he mentioned a 6.5 point underdog, something like that. When it comes to the game tonight, and of course Iowa will find out this weekend where they are bowling, but it sure does look like a trip to Tampa is in the cards for Iowa, and maybe a battle with Vanderbilt, which would be interesting to see as well. We got to line up Scott Docterman next week, and it's going to be a busy week with the Cyhawk stuff and everything else, but we're going to try to figure out a way to get the Scott Docterman on the show. But chat's as good as they get. So a lot more to get to here on today's show. Coming up, we'll talk Illinois sports. Our good friend Kedric Prince will be along to talk about an 8-4 Illinois football team and if Illinois fans should be excited, disappointed, where they should be with this team. Ked's got opinions, and they're next right here on OTA. We'll be right back. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfathers is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. Of course, it's a great time of year in Champaign. I guess if you're not outside, if you're outside like everybody was on Saturday, it was not fun to say the least. But the Fighting Illini get the job done. They finished the football season on a high. Black Friday wasn't great for the basketball team, but we do have a lot to talk about. And with that being said, we're joined by our good friend Kedric Prince to talk all about it. First and foremost, my friend, happy Thanksgiving once again. How was your Thanksgiving? I saw you got a little grandson starting a snow removal business. Dude, that's pretty sweet. That's really good. That's really good stuff.
That dude, I'm telling you, man, that guy's got some juice, man. I just keep thinking, was I ever like that, or was Keelan ever like that? That kid's got juice and more juice. He's never tired. I get tired. I fall asleep just looking at him, man.
Yeah, that was adorable. I saw the picture on social media. What I'm talking about is Ked's grandson. What's your grandson's name? I can't remember.
Coleman.
He
Coleman,
was out
like Coleman Hawkins.
Yeah, he was out there with his utensils getting the snow off the ground. He was as cute as can be. Well, I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. Did you eat a good amount? Did you do good?
I did good, but I don't need that.
No, I don't need it either.
None of us do.
None of us do. Trust me.
It was good.
Well, the bad part is and then it started snowing, so you had to stay inside, and then you kept eating, and then you kept eating some more. I told my wife I just need to get out of the house today just so I can be active and go to a gym or something. But I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. It was good for the football team, and I want to start with there with you. What a weird Saturday night. How do you prepare for a game like that where it's a blizzard, it's weird, and it kind of almost equals the playing field when it comes to what teams can do and can't do?
I thought it was, to be truthful with you, I've said it on a number of podcasts, I was kind of surprised. With the feel of the way it was and the field condition, I expect to be a dominant run game. But I didn't see that. They threw the ball. And, I told people, that Illinois is a Nike school. So whatever shoes they had, Nike was presenting them, they did a heck of a job because they were cutting like there was no snow on the ground. I was impressed. I really was. I'm glad because I'm not an old school running back guy. I don't want to see the teams run the ball. I don't like scores 10-7. A lot of people do. I don't. I like to see the scores, and if I want to watch that, I can go to YouTube and watch some football from the 50s or 60s. So they were able to throw the ball as well as they were able to run it. So I was cool with that. What
was good for Illinois is they found some takeaways, Ked. And it had been a minute since they got some takeaways. Kind of talk about that because, this game is won with the fact that Illinois took the ball away and took advantage of those turnovers. Good to be an opportunistic defense after a couple weeks. It'd been a while since Illinois had taken the football away.
There's so many mixed feelings and, depending on who you talk to. And, there was times when I was questioning things myself, but it had been 7 consecutive games before they had taking the ball away, and I was really it's not good. It's not, and a lot of people, and I don't know if your listeners, wherever, a lot of people are mad and disappointed when things don't go well. It's either fire your boss, fire the quarterback, fire the offensive coordinator, fire the defensive coordinator, fire the coach. That's just America and the 2025 version of the United States of America. But fact of the matter is, to me, I've done a lot of thinking about it, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but some people they don't like when you talk bad about players. I don't think it's a defensive coordinator. I just think it's the talent. I saw Illinois become really aggressive to a not so good Northwestern team. I saw them play better defense against Maryland and Rutgers because they weren't playing Washington or what have you. I do think if they had better talent, I think the play calling would be better. They didn't take the ball away. Let's just call a spade a spade. They weren't good at it. But I can tell you, I think if Aaron Henry, who's the defensive coordinator, had the goons back there or the dogs back there, is what kids say today, I think you see them. I think that they would have been different. One of the best defensive players, the two best defensive players, Gabe Akis and Matthew Bailey. And I'm not just saying that. You can ask anybody. Those are the two people who have any chance, in my personal opinion, of making any postseason awards from a defensive standpoint. The thing with Matthew Bailey, and Moline fans, be careful, because don't get mad at me for saying this. This is a compliment because I love the kid. I live in Moline. Matthew Bailey is a once-in-a-lifetime type of kid. And what I mean by that, I was at that press conference. I talked to him, his mom, and his father. He had an offer from North Dakota State. Kirk Ferentz wanted him to walk on. Okay, and that means he had no Division I or two good or Power 5 or Power 4 offers. Illinois saw something in his kid, and he turned out to be a gem. Those players that doesn't happen all the time. You're not going to get a Matthew Bailey who's going to potentially be an All-Big Ten type of player. And he ended up, like I said, being one of your top two players. Pat Bryant, a receiver who's doing well for Denver Broncos, is another guy, or Devin Weatherspoon. Those are great stories. Those are 2- and 3-star kids. But you don't know if you recruit those kids, Matt, if they're going to become a Matthew Bailey, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. And you look at it too, he's had a really good season, but you mentioned those are the two guys. And then after that, it's who's filling the places and the voids. You mentioned everybody, it's an I call it the overreaction in sports. If something bad happens, there's always that segment of a fan base that just overreacts. And Ken, I don't know if I talked to you about this last time, but they lost to Wisconsin. And I literally saw, I don't think I've talked to you since then. I saw people complaining on social media about Brett Bielema. And I remember last week talking in the Lovie Smith era, in those 5 years, Illinois won 17 games. Since the start of last season, Illinois has won 18 football games. They've won more football games in less than 2 years under Brett Bielema than they did the entire time of Lovie Smith. I get frustrations. I get disappointment. I get lofty expectations that didn't come to fruition. But isn't it, and I don't know if you've seen it, I see this overreaction from some, not everybody, that you're blaming Brett Bielema and something's got to change and all these kind of things. Is there an overreaction sometimes to Illinois football this season?
Yes, and I don't want to lose any of my people who follow me or support me or whatever, but damn, wake up. Do you realize Brett Bielema is the only coach in the history of Illinois football? He is 12-2 at home in 2 seasons at Illinois. Who do you want? What do you want? I guess you think you're going to win every game. And it stinks, and I feel bad because I remember those days. No coach is going to win every game. And is that a bad loss? Yes, it is. And these people are going to be, oh, yeah, Kedric. No, Kedric, nothing. They stunk before, Matt. If I could use different language and not be fired, and I'm telling you, they're 8-4. I didn't think they were going to win 10 games. I've said it. Go back and there's all these podcasts. We've gone over the schedule.
My show, you said that. You said it on my show.
And you know what? And they're 8-4. Remember, it could be 4-8, and that's what it always was. You lost to Northwestern. I think Brett Bielema was 3-1 against Northwestern. You were never competitive. You didn't have a chance to win. Brett is a good football coach. I don't care if people like it or don't like it. There's things I don't like. I'm not going to lie to you. There's things about Brett Underwood that he does I don't like. But my son gave me a statistic, and I was kind of mad because I asked him to send it to me. His girlfriend gave me a statistic. It was Iowa, Alabama, LSU,
Georgia.
I don't know if it's Notre Dame. You know what I'm going to say with
maybe
8 wins?
Go on.
Have you seen that?
He
told me there was
Iowa and 3 others,
and I was one of them,
to win 8 or more games in the last 10 years. But Ken, I just did a show the other day, and I got feedback on social media because Iowa's in that group, but they're never competing for a national championship. And I said, hold on a second. That includes in 2015 when they went undefeated and they lost the Big Ten championship game. Come on. It's amazing that the same Iowa fans I've been frustrated with for all these years are now it's fans are short for fanatic. I get it. But I think the stat is Alabama, Iowa, Georgia, and one other school are the 4 schools to win at least 8 games the last 10 seasons. And people still complain.
The only schools in the country. Why are you – okay, so for those fans out there, what the hell do you think is going to happen to Ohio State? What do you think is going to happen to Michigan? You think they're just going to go away and say, oh, you know what, we love you, Iowa. You go ahead and you take the reins. You're competing with the big dogs. They are the best of the best.
Yeah.
If Illinois or Iowa could beat them once a year like Illinois beat Michigan last year, great. That's an extra Christmas gift for Kedric because you're not beating those teams every year. You don't – the talent level at Ohio State, I'm just going to use them alone, is elite. It is. They have guys that will commit to their school that is a 5-star kid that were sitting right on that bench for 3 years before they get off the bench. Yeah. And Iowa and Illinois, Nebraska, Minnesota, that's not Washington now, USC. That's not what you are. Occasionally you're going to get upsets. It's going to happen. Mm-hmm. But you're not better than them. And Illinois is not better than them. And you know what? You don't think I want to see Illinois in the college football playoffs? I would love to see that. But let's be honest with you. You know what? You think Illinois, if we could talk financial, do you think Illinois has the money that Ohio State does? I know damn well Iowa doesn't. Yeah. I've talked to Tom about that many times. And there are people out there, there's tons of alumni. Illinois has tons of alumni with money. But that doesn't mean, or Iowa, that doesn't mean that they're going to give it to your football and basketball program. To be honest with you, it looks like your women's basketball program gets more interest in your football program if you want me to be transparent with you.
And the wrestling gets it too. I mean, wrestling,
yes.
Like Iowa has 4 mouths to feed when it comes to the 4 sports that we just mentioned. Illinois has 3. I mean, they don't have
3.
to. And women's basketball, which I can't speak highly enough about.
It's not there, but it's growing.
It's growing, but they don't have to feed that the way that the Iowa women's basketball has to be fed. Ken, Brett Bielema was the first head coach in Illinois history to win 8+ games 3 times in a 4-year span. 8-5.
Let's fire him, Matt. Let's get rid of him.
Like, listen, the last time Illinois achieved that feat was 1901 to 1904, and the program in 1904 was coached by a group of 4 alumni. They didn't even have a head coach. They had 4 people acting as the head coach. That's 125 years ago, whatever it is, 121 years ago, whatever. Like, it's mind-boggling to me. But I get it because, like, I listen to the same people.
I don't get it.
And no, because I don't get it, but I know why people – I've had to deal with Iowa fans wanting Kirk Ferentz gone for a decade. And you know what? If Illinois' football problem is complaining about 8 wins, y'all are in for a really good run. It's going to be fun because if you're winning 8 to 10 games a year and you're still not happy, you're that guy that I gave you $100 bill and they complain because you didn't give me 520s. How am I going to break this $100 bill? You know, you're just one of those people that are just never happy if you can't be happy with the fact that you won 8 games. Now, I'll say this. I think Iowa's 8-4 and Illinois is 8-4. I don't know which one's better or worse, but I think they're different because Iowa's 4 losses are by 15 points. Illinois' 4 losses are 4, double-digit losses. So those games weren't as close. Might be easier to stomach for Illinois fans than it is for Iowa fans because Iowa fans can keep thinking, man, you win 1 or 2 of those close games. Maybe you are doing more. Bottom line, you're 8-4. You're going to go to a good bowl game, and I think you're going to have a successful bowl game as well. And here's the other thing. I don't see Luke Altmaier. I don't see him losing his last game in Illinois. I don't know who they play. I don't know where they go. But you're in this day and age of I don't want to play in the bowl game. I got to get ready for this. I'm going to go put myself in the portal here. Bowl games are weird. I think Illinois is going to go there with a group of seniors that have meant a lot to this program and play their asses off trying to win a football game. I don't know what you think.
I think so too. 1901, Matt. I mean, what are they complaining about? I was 30 years old then. That was just yesterday. It stinks. Like I say, you have the right to be frustrated. But you know what? And for those people out there who complain, I know I've made mistakes in my life and at my job. So every time you get fired, make a mistake, should you get fired? And don't give me this business. Well, Kedric, he makes $8 million a year. Well, you may make 100,000 or 50 or 40. A mistake's a mistake.
Yeah.
No one's perfect. But to me, if they fired him, I would be hot because you know what? I don't want to see Tim Beckman. I don't want to see Luke Tepper. I don't want to see Lovie Smith. Lovie Smith walked in and just took one of the biggest paychecks and was a lazy ass. He did not want to recruit. He thought his name was going to bring players there, and that was the end of it. I don't want to hear that, because I'll tell you this. The last podcast I did last Saturday, you give Brett Bielema Ohio State's roster, I'm telling you, I know how, and I'm not saying anything against Mr. Day, don't get me wrong, or Oregon's roster. That's worth
or their payroll.
Or Michigan's.
Their payroll. Forget the roster, their payroll. It is a business now. And if you don't like it, and for Illinois fans and Iowa fans that are like, oh, next year's going to be different, it might not be really good. Maybe, I don't know, because, and I'm going to talk to you about this in a second. I'm going to almost use all of our time on college football, and that might be okay. But it's just a different, you don't know what Illinois football is going to look like next year. You have no idea right now, sitting here on December 2nd, what Illinois' roster is going to look like. You didn't know who was coming to Iowa's rosters last year at this time. You didn't know Mark Gronowski was going to show up or how they're going to spend their money. So it's going to be a fascinating time. I got to ask you about 2 quick coaching changes. What are your thoughts on this whole SEC, Lane Kiffin leaving, wanting to stay and coach? I think hats off to the Mississippi athletic director for, no, get out of here. Like, it's not like you're going to the NFL. You're going to our arch rival. We're not going to let you stay here for another month and coach. No. Your thoughts on this soap opera that is the SEC?
I was listening to a radio station on the way home, and here's my thoughts. The college football needs rules. In the NFL, that wouldn't be happening. I'm sorry. That's my response to it.
Can you imagine the free agency happening as the postseason began? Like, think about that. That's what's going on. Can you imagine the NFL wildcard weekend and free agency also opens at the same time? It makes no sense. The calendar in college football, Ked, is awful. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No. I mean, I understand what you're saying. And what I don't understand is that, like, these people really sit here and think that it's okay and that teams are going to do that for them, and just say, you know what, we're going to let you go coach for us. And that's kind of like, the Bears with Ben Johnson. You know what, I'm sorry, I'm going to go coach at Green Bay. No, it's not going to happen. Okay. It just doesn't work that way. So I don't know why these people think that's okay, but it's a different world. And if college football had rules and they were stricter, because I'm going to tell you, they're afraid of lawsuits. I get it. I get it, because college football is the NCAA, even basketball, they're running because you can do whatever you want. I would fight anything. Hell, we have, this is another podcast. You have guys go to pros and go to G League, and now they're coming back, and all you got to do is say, I'm going to sue you. Just sue everybody. That's all you have to do is threaten to sue them, and then you're going to get what you want. Yeah. I mean, I wish it was that easy, but it's not. And I think it's a nasty look, to be truthful with you. I don't really like it. I want to see players be able to get paid, but I want some rules to it. I want some clarity. I don't want kids to be able to do what they want to do, and then coaches just become nasty. That's what it's become. And that's why I'm not a big fan of – I love NFL. And everybody knows Ked's a basketball guy. But if I had the choice, and God said, Ked, you got to pick one, NFL or NBA. I'm watching NFL every single day, 7 days a week. They play hard. The NBA, I'm not a fan of that yet, and I'm sorry. I know people out there who are friends of mine that their kids play in the NBA. I'm just not sold on it. But truthfully, there needs to be rules. There needs to be regulations. And, these coaches today leaving for more money. I mean, Google how much money these people make. Now, I could be wrong. I thought Brett Bielema made $4,000. I think somebody said $8 million. You're going to fire a guy? Go Google his buyout clause. Are you going to donate to that? Because you don't have it. I don't.
One last one for college football. I got to let you go. And I'll mention, I don't know if you agree or disagree. I think Michigan State, it sounds like they're hired, or they hired last night, Pat Fitzgerald from Northwestern. I think that's a really good hire, Ked. I don't know if you agree or disagree. I think that's a really stabilizing good hire.
Well, with AI the way it is, when I thought it was a joke. I mean, I didn't know. I did. But I'm going to tell you, it's a good hire, and boy, I feel bad for Northwestern because he is going to be coming for you.
And he was exonerated.
It's a good hire. You know what? What I was told, neither team, that they didn't want to fight it. They didn't want to go to court, just be done. But the thing I wish Pat Fitzgerald would do, just stop talking about Northwestern and move on. It's a good hire. You know what? It's like we talked about Brett. It is a good hire. And there's only so many great coaches out there. You get all these offensive coordinators, it doesn't mean that they're going to pan out. It doesn't. I like Brett because he was a proven coach. And probably my favorite thing about him, that dude, his recruiting, which I've talked about, I would challenge a lot of coaches in the Big Ten in the country to be as passionate about his kids the way he is. They're never going to get, like I said, they'll get this shit 5 stars, but Illinois is okay. And for the fans that want to get him fired, like I said to you, I'll go to my YouTube page and I'll go back and I'll find some Lovie Smith games for you, and then you tell me how you feel about it.
Hey, I got like 2 minutes left with you. Illinois basketball. We won't get into the Madison Square Garden. I think you flush that, you let it go. They got another tough game. Ked, it's December 2nd, and now they've gotten 3 tough games, and now they go to Nashville to take on a good Tennessee team. They're being tested. I think it's going to all pay off at the end. Can they split these 4 games? Can they pick up a victory over Tennessee and go 2-2 in those marquee matchups early in the season?
They can do it. Will they do it? I don't know. I was very disappointed that they lost to Alabama. If they would have beat Alabama and lost to UConn, I wouldn't care. I didn't want to see them get blown out. I have some concerns, and my concern is this team better get tougher. They better get tougher, and they're a donut team. I love Thomas Lavi Beeson. I love his brother. They have no inside game at all. They just want to shoot threes. There's no inside presence to them. The offense, great. Call it is what you want, but there's no dominant guy in that paint. When they face teams who want to go down and beat you in the paint like UConn and everybody else, they're going to struggle. And I think they're good. They're extremely talented, but understand if they don't figure out something in the post to how to defend it and how to get their bigs and people and get other teams' bigs in foul trouble, it's going to be a long season. And I don't want to see a soft team. That's not how I like to see basketball, and it's not a Brad Underwood team. People can say that it's not. It is. You punch them in the face and they don't fight back. I'm not cool with that. That's what Kedric sees.
Yeah, and I'll let you go. I think it's not a finished product, Ked. I think the Illinois team you're watching right now is going to look but I think it's going to be a better team in January, February, March. I think they've been hurt. I think the familiarity. But you're right, familiarity and those kind of things, X's and O's, can always get better. Toughness is something that we'll keep an eye on to see if they can, be tough, especially in the Big Ten, because Michigan looks really good, and Purdue plays Iowa State soon. I think Saturday. That'll be an interesting game as well. So I think the Big Ten.
Can I make a comment about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's my comment, and I'm not disrespecting Michigan or Michigan State. I'm not. So don't at me, people. But I will tell you, Illinois seems like they're just snake bitten. I watched Michigan State beat Kentucky. They were like 1 for 95 from 3. I watched Michigan play Gonzaga. They couldn't put it in the ocean. They got some breaks, and that's a part of it. It is a part of it, and I understand that. So I'm not saying that Michigan's not a better team, but Illinois, when they played Alabama, Illinois played really good. And every time they made a shot, Matt, they answered it. Michigan didn't have to face that. Michigan State didn't have to face that. And I watched the game, so don't tell me that it didn't happen. So, you know what? Maybe if Illinois could go to Tennessee and maybe they get a break and they may get that W. I don't know, but those teams are good. Michigan looks really, really good when shots are going in. When other teams' shots don't go in, they don't look as good.
Yeah, no, I get you. It's going to be a fascinating season. I got to get you out of here. I always I love talking. Everybody's like, oh, Ked's on, we'll talk Illinois. Ked, like back in the day, you and Tommy's radio show wasn't just Iowa and Illinois. You talked a lot of everything. Ked's got opinions, not just on the Illini, on everything as well. Be good, my friend. We'll catch up again real soon. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
All right. That is Kedric Prince here on a Tuesday on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. And college basketball-wise, we haven't talked enough about it. And I know he's a former Hawkeye, and some people maybe Iowa-wise don't love him because he's a former Hawkeye and he left or all that kind of stuff. But Brock Harding played outstanding basketball over Thanksgiving. Obviously was named the MVP of the tournament he was playing. They beat Wisconsin. They beat Florida, and he was the reason why. I mean, he was playing basketball at a high level, and we love watching that with Brock Harding. Of course, Brock was on the show probably 3 weeks ago, so if you want to go check that out, it's in the archives on the YouTube channel as well. But college basketball in full swing. Illinois has Tennessee coming up. I believe it's on Saturday in Nashville. Iowa has Michigan State at Michigan State tonight. We already talked about that a little bit. And then, of course, Illinois will find out whether they're going to go bowling. And Ked's right. It was so surprising after the Wisconsin loss. And I get the disappointment, but there were so many negative people complaining about Brett Bielema. He's won 18 games since the start of last year. Lovie Smith won 17 in 5 years. I mean, just some context of where you've came from and where you're going needs to be reminded for Illinois fans when it comes to football sometimes. Not all of y'all. I mean, don't get me wrong. A lot of the fan base gets it. Ked gets it. But, man, you don't go usually from what you were to, 5 wins and then 8 wins and then 10 wins and then 12 wins. I mean, there's a little leveling out that happens. So, anyways, we've got a lot more to get to. We're just getting warmed up. You're watching OTA on a Tuesday right here in the QC.
Give me the keys. Learning to drive can be stressful for both the student and, yes, the parent as well. Relax. There's an easy way to avoid the stress. Skiles Driving School in East Moline has been helping new drivers hit the road with confidence for over 20 years. Whether you're a teen earning your first license or an adult looking for behind-the-wheel training, we've got you covered. Their certified instructors are patient, experienced, and use modern vehicles equipped for safety and comfort. From classroom instruction to real-world driving, we make learning safe, affordable, and even fun. Call 309-278-0098 or visit skylesdriving.com. Skiles Driving School. Get in, buckle up, drive your future forward.
Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. I kind of worried a little bit yesterday. The Chicago Bears aren't only in first place in the NFC North, they're the number 1 overall seed in the NFC. And everyone knows who knows me. I'm a Lions fan. More depressed about them than ever. Frank Ragnow's not coming back anymore. Terrion Arnold now just had surgery. He's out for the year. Everything that seems to be can be going bad for my Lions is going bad, and everything's going right for the Chicago Bears. And so I figured it's a great time to catch up with my good friend Bobby Metcalf out in Columbus now, longtime Quad City everything here. Media mogul. Can I call you that? That make sense?
Yeah, nobody knows what mogul means. So
it doesn't mean it's not even close to what I just. But anyways, my good friend Bobby Metcalf, longtime sports writer, producer at WQAD, now in Columbus, in TV in Columbus, producing out in Columbus so well, joining me. Bobby, you give me that text message every Sunday, and it's 2 little letters or 2 little words, and says "in still." Life as a Bears fan is not bad, is it?
It's shocking. Can't still wrap my head around it, especially after what happened on Friday. I mean, you and I have talked about how easy their schedule has been and how maybe it was fool's gold. And then they go into Philly on Black Friday in a primetime game. And I mean, I won't say they absolutely demolished them, but they were pretty dominant in a lot of parts of that game. And to do that to the defending champs was shocking.
Yeah.
You don't apologize for wins, and that's why I kept saying when they're 8-3 and now at 9-3 in first place in the NFC, I'm not going to apologize for anything. Do I think it's going to last? I won't say. I think they're going to end up first in the NFC at the end of the season. But man, this has been a lot of fun, and I think in some ways for Bears fans a little cathartic because all these close games we're used to watching the Bears blow them, right? I mean, they don't win that Washington game. They don't win that LA game or Vegas game. They don't win, the Rams or the Vikings game. They don't win the Giants game. They don't win the Steelers game. They definitely don't win the Bengals game. I mean, all those games that they've won are games that I'm sitting there watching it, and I was I'm texting some Bears fans that I know, and every time they would have that like a 2-score lead against the Bengals, I go, how are they going to screw this up?
Yeah.
They go and they have that double-digit lead against the Vikings for the second time, and the Vikings score, and I'm like, all right, here we go. Like, I'm so used to, as a Bears fan, that it's shocking to see them actually come out on the other side of this these games.
Yeah, Bobby, and you never apologize for winning, because in the NFL, it just comes down to a few plays in so many different games. And I'm not saying this is going to come out wrong, because the Bears aren't a bad team, but you watch teams stay in games and win every Sunday. Like, look at Carolina last week. I mean, the Rams are a better football team, and Carolina made enough plays, and any team can win any game. I think the Bears are getting better while winning football games, and that makes life a lot easier when you're stockpiling victories and you know you're not to where you need to be and might get to. I do take a victory lap when it comes to and I'll ask you a good question out of this, but I said to everybody who would listen, when the Bears hired Ben Johnson, he's going to come to Chicago and run the football. That's what he wants to do. Everybody was like, oh, Caleb and Ben, it's going to be amazing. And I'm like, no, he's going to improve the offensive line and run the football. They had 2 backs rush for over 125 yards against the Eagles. We weren't doing that. I mean, just forget about their inept offense and maybe the chinks in the Eagles' armor. Their defense has been the one thing that you could be like, all right, but their defense is still really good. And they did that. So give them full credit for that. But Ben Johnson wants to run the football. I'll ask you this. If I would have told you to start the season, the Bears going into week 14 would be 9-3. And would you have, and how do I say this nicely so I don't get people yelling at me? Caleb Williams hasn't been that good. Like, he's been okay, right? Like, if I told you they were in first place, you would have said, wow, Caleb and Ben clicked, and that's why they're so good. That hasn't really happened, and they're still good. Is that surprising to you?
Yeah, there have been games this year, even during this winning streak, where I'm watching it, and I'm still sitting there going, man, I see a lot of flaws. It was the Bengals game. I can't remember what game it was. There was a game during this win streak where I watched it live, and I was texting a couple of friends, and I'm like, Caleb's not it. Caleb's not good. He's just not it. And then I went back and watched the replay of it when you take all the emotion out. And he's a lot better than played a lot better than I gave him credit for. It was whatever game the Bears had like umpteen number of drops. They had like 6 or 7 drops. I can't remember which one it was, but they had so many drops in that game. And but that's not, so that being said, there are a lot of things about Caleb that I want to see more out of. He's still not the most accurate passer of the football I'd like to see, especially on deep throws. He misses some guys lots of times. That said, he makes some throws. He is about as clutch of a player right now as I've seen in a long time, especially in wearing a Bears jersey. I mean, the things he's done in the fourth quarter to bring them back in these games, that throw he made to Kmet to ice the game against Philly. I mean, it's what they said about him coming out of college, is he can make the wow throws. And that's what he's doing. He's not making all of the ordinary, the routine throws that you'd like to see out of an NFL quarterback, but he's doing enough, and the team is doing enough around him where he doesn't have to be Superman all the time. It's only year 2 for him, and it's in a new offense. I think you've got to give him a little bit of slack there. Yes, I'd like to see. I mean, I think that he's going to have to find that next level here in the next 5 games if they want to actually stay in first in the NFC and maybe make a deep run in the playoffs. But you're right. As your point, it has not been all on Caleb, and I think it's a very good thing, because if it was all on Caleb, I don't know if it's sustainable.
Yeah. I just think it looks different than what people thought. And I think that's to Ben Johnson's credit. I told people from the beginning, like, you're not going to know about Caleb Williams even probably after this year. Like, and this is Bears fans that want to say year 1 doesn't count, which I don't think you can completely throw it away, but it is a new head coach. So I think you'll have to wait and see still. I just think it looks different than people thought. I thought if they were 9-3, it was like, wow, this thing is rocking and rolling and he's amazing. And he's an average quarterback right now. Like you mentioned, some good, some not so good, and then just a lot of stuff in between, maybe a slightly above average. I don't want to get into I don't want to turn this into a Caleb Williams thing, but Go ahead.
I mean, I would say he's in the top half in the league in terms of quarterbacks at this point.
So average. That's 50%.
Yeah, average. But I mean, average. Top 16, top 12. I mean, I'm not going to go through a list and say which quarterbacks are playing better or which one quarterbacks are going to have. But
I'll say they didn't draft him. They didn't draft him number one. They didn't draft him number one to be, and I know it's year 2, but they didn't draft him number one to be the 14th best quarterback in the NFL in a league that doesn't have, like, you get past like 8 to 10 and it gets a little funky when it comes to quarterbacks. And I'm not saying it's a finished product. I'm not saying everything's said and done, but like it has, I mean, he's probably still, he's probably still 3 or 4 in his own draft class. Drake May's 1, Bo Nix 2.
I put him on the same level with Bo Nix. I mean,
ooh,
I think I would. I mean, Bo Nix has a lot of flaws too.
No, I get that. You're right.
I think I put him and Bo Nix on the same level. I think then you got Jaden Daniels, who had a great rookie year. But
you just don't know. Incomplete.
Knock on him coming out was could he stay healthy, and he can't stay healthy. So.
No, I get you. I'd be Drake May right now. Drake May 1. Probably Jaden Daniels still 2 because he had the sensational season. Yes, the injuries are a huge concern. And then you're right. I'll say that. Like Bo Nix, there's a lot of Bo Nix love. And there's times that he does really good, but there's sometimes I watched him the other night throw a football right to Bobby Wagner, and I was like, what was that? So I mean, I get it, and they're all young quarterbacks.
Caleb had a much better rookie season than people like. The wins weren't there because I mean you can look at the coaching staff there, but like he didn't turn the ball over last year. He had 27, 28 touchdowns. I mean, he got sacked a ton behind a porous offensive line.
Wasn't the lack of interceptions and turnovers simply because he was holding the ball on too long?
I mean, but who knows if it was holding the ball on too long? Who knows if it was the fact that he was getting pressure right away with that line? I mean, there were a lot. The point is that he didn't have the narrative somehow got he had this horrible rookie season, and he didn't. Like the wins weren't there. The stats were serviceable. Again, we've had this conversation multiple times about what I thought, what I want the Bears to do. Now that's moot. Justin Fields terrible.
Yeah.
I'm glad
we don't have to talk about that.
But at the same time, like I never thought the Fields had a horrible rookie season. It just obviously the wins weren't there.
Yeah, exactly. Not Fields, but Caleb Williams. I know what you're saying though. Bobby Metcalf joining us on Off Day with Matt Randazzo. I gave you some homework. The Bears have 5 games left. It's at Green Bay. We'll talk about that game in a second. And then it's at home against Cleveland. They go on the road to take on, or they're at Green Bay, home against Cleveland, home against Green Bay. They go to San Francisco, and then they come back for the Lions, the last game of the season. Can you rank those games? We'll start easiest to most difficult when it comes to those last 5 games. So give me the first one. Give me the easiest game on the Bears schedule.
It has to be Cleveland.
100%. Their defense is good, Bobby.
Cleveland's defense is so good. It's really good. I mean, but that offense is terrible.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to account for Myles Garrett, but they, with the exception of that terrible strip sack, they held TJ Watt in check. I mean, yes, I don't think it's going to be a runaway football game, but that is by far their easiest game because I don't think the Cleveland Browns are going to be able to do anything offensively with Shedeur Sanders, even though the Bears, I know the big knock on the Bears this year has been their defense. They haven't been healthy all year. They're finally getting healthy, and you saw kind of what this defense can maybe sort of start being in that Philly game. So Cleveland's definitely the easiest game left in this game.
100%, completely agree. If they don't win that, shame on them. Again, it's the NFL, so I'm not saying something weird will happen, they'll lose, but it'll be close. I mean, everything's close in the NFL. And I think if you don't get a turnover or two to Shedeur Sanders, shame on you. You should get a couple and continue that as well. The second easiest game left on the schedule, I'm intrigued by this one. What would that be?
If it was at home, I would say the 49ers, but the fact they have to go out west, I don't think I can say the 49ers. You're going to yell at me, but
no.
I think it's at home against the Lions. I think.
Yeah.
Like, I respect the Lions. I respect Dan Campbell. I mean, they beat the snot out of the Bears in week 2, put up 52 on them. They just, as you said at the beginning before I came on, this is not the same Lions team. They're banged up. They're hurt. There's something just amiss with them. They just can't seem to.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's. I mean, you just talk about the Dan Campbell going for on fourth down way too many times now. I mean, there's just something off with them this year, and it's in Chicago, and I mean it's the last game of the season. I think the Bears. I think both teams are going to be playing for a lot. So in terms of I don't think the Lions are going to be out of it by that means. So the Lions could be fighting for a playoff spot. The Bears could be fighting for the division, the NFC. Maybe they're even fighting for a playoff spot if things don't go their way down the stretch. But I think I have to say, unfortunately, just the way things go, it's got to be the Lions at home.
And I think that's because of the fact that the schedule is difficult. You take away Cleveland, and the 4 other games are difficult games. No, hey, it's weird. I was just texting some Lions buzzies a little bit ago, and it's just a different vibe. There's always that, and I don't think the window's closed. Everybody gets so dramatic and is like, well, the Lions' window is closed. Well, Philly's window never closed, but they had a clunker season. And so many things went the Lions' way last year, not injury-wise, but they were injured a ton and they won 15 games. Those games that you look back at and you're like, wow, they were losing to Tennessee by whatever it was. Jared Goff threw 5 touchdowns, or not Tennessee, Houston. Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions. And then out of nowhere, they came back and kicked 2 long field goals and won a football game. And you're like, that kind of stuff is just the opposite this year. I don't love the fact that, and you mentioned week 2, the Lions ran the damn score up. They did. They were, and karma's and so I don't love that either. I think it's a difficult game. I think the Lions can win the football game. God, I hope so, just to save some of my sanity. But the way things are going, every time I flip on Twitter, somebody else is out for the year, or Amon-Ra's not playing, or something else is going on. So I would agree with that. The third most difficult game, or easiest game on the schedule is, I guess we're going easiest to most difficult. So number 3 is
home against Green Bay.
Ooh.
I think Green Bay is actually very beatable. I do think I'm not going to think which I would think the last 2 hardest games. Although you can kind of figure it out, but I think they're a lot more even this year. And it's a home game. The Bears are going to be at home. They're going to want to beat their rivals at home. I think we might be getting to the point finally where the rivalry is getting closer. Maybe home field advantage makes a difference. So I think that game is going to be between the 3 that I left on the table. I would take that one, the easiest one, just because it's at home.
And again, we're saying the easiest. We could have flipped the order and said most difficult and gone the other way. And it seems like I don't think anybody thinks that the Lions game week 18 is easy. And I don't think you're saying the Packers game is easy, but of the most winnable. So I'll ask you, the last 2 is at Green Bay, at San Francisco. I don't know for sure which one you're going to go with. What's the second most difficult one? And then what's the most difficult one at the very end?
I'll say at San Fran. I'll put at San Fran is 4th. The out west trip. I think San Fran's good, but they're also really banged up on defense.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what Brock Purdy really is? He's been hurt all year. But again, you go out west, and that's just it's hard to win out west for a lot of teams. It's just kind of a different animal. The time zone change. The Bears haven't had to make a lot of long road trips this year. I think that one is just tough. And then again, you got the 49ers who are fighting for the playoffs. I mean, that's what's crazy about how close the NFC is. Every single team we mentioned outside the Browns who aren't in the NFC are fighting for a playoff spot.
No, 100%.
The Bears are in first place right now. If they lose this week, they could be in the 7th seed.
I read something today that if the Lions wouldn't have lost to the Vikings, which I was there, and is still the worst thing, I can't get over the fact they did, the Lions would be a half a game out of the number 1 seed in the postseason if they would have just won that one game. Which is, you can take any game and do that. I'm looking real quick at the schedule because it's not easy, I don't think, for the Niners have a bye, then they got to lay up with Tennessee. What are they overall? Are they 7? They're 8-4.
8-4.
So Tennessee,
they beat the Browns. No, they have a bye, so they'd be 9-4.
Okay, 9-4. Tennessee gets them to 10, but then they're at Indianapolis, the Bears, and then Seattle. Like, that's not easy. Like, those last 3 games, besides the Titans, aren't easy at all. Well, I just looked if I can survive my Survivor series or my Survivor pick this week. I'll be taking San Francisco the following week against the Titans. But no, and that's the crazy part about all this stuff, Bobby, is that it's the NFL and you have no idea. One win one way or the other will change a whole bunch. This week, real quick, prediction: Bears at Lambeau to take on the Packers. I'm still ticked off at the Cowboys, which is who the Lions play on Thursday, because they traded Micah Parsons in this damn division, and it makes me really, really mad. Your thoughts? Can they shock?
It's like an 18.
Go ahead.
It's like an 18 when the Raiders traded Khalil Mack to the Bears. I mean, that's exactly how it felt. They did right for the season, and that trade kind of put the Bears onto the winning that division, which like I loved at the time. Obviously now, but you have to kind of be watching it go to your biggest rival, and the reason I think that's the hardest game of the schedule is just there's so much pressure now on the Bears being in first place, going into Green Bay. They won their last year on that late field goal, but with the way Green Bay's defense is playing, and let's be honest, it's the NFL. This winning streak's got to stop at some point, right? I mean, the Bears aren't going to win out. They're not going to finish 14-3 and then win out and go to the Super Bowl. They're going to have to lose at some point, and this makes the most sense to go into Green Bay with first place, everything on the line, and that's going to be just a really tough game. So I mean that just kind of recent kind of immediacy and the rivalry and the stakes they haven't been this high since. I want to say the stakes haven't been this high since the game, that whatever game it was that they're playing the last game of the season to go to win the division. It was Bears and Packers, and there was the Chris Conte major rate gaff that led to Randall Cobb being wide open and Lance Briggs not picking up the fumble and just all the little mistakes the Bears made. I think it's like the most stakes have been in this rivalry for a decade close. So I think that was about 2012, 2013. So
yeah. I agree.
Crazy.
And I know this is bad analysis, but it just feels like the Bears are due to lose the game. And if they're going to do it, it's going to be, this is the most, I mean, it makes sense that and it's not a bad thing. I don't think anybody, unless the Packers just smack them and beat them by 2-3 touchdowns, I don't think it's anything that's going to derail the season or anybody's going to be like, oh no. It's just, okay, you lost up north, you get them again in 2 weeks, you get to go home for a 2-game homestand, you get 3 of your last 4 at home. I mean, like either way, they're in a good position heading down the stretch with. It just stinks for me. It just stinks. Dan, come on, man. Anyways, a little Iowa football before I let you go. I know you're a big Iowa fan. Your thoughts, maybe big picture wise of this season. I know a lot of people say 4 games, 4 losses, 15 points. I get all those kind of things. Besides the pregame host on the radio being just amazing this year, your thoughts on Iowa football this past season?
The best season they've had since maybe, I don't know, the 2020 COVID year. I mean,
best team.
Just best team. Yeah. Sorry, best team.
Absolutely.
This was a lot of fun to watch. I don't remember the stats off the top of my head. I know they were excited during the games, but you ever think we'd go into Camp Randall and just beat the ever-living snot out of Wisconsin?
Hey, how about this? Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Nebraska, Iowa beat by a combined 118 to 19 points. They beat them by 99 combined points. It's pretty good when you look at those 3 rivals.
Yeah. When they lost the game to Iowa State, that was deflating. And then I think the Indiana game, Indiana loss was next, like in the terms of losses. And I was kind of like, oh man, this team. But when they went into Wisconsin and did that, and I was like, hold on a second. The team might actually be different. I think it was after the Wisconsin and then the Minnesota game. I was going around the station here in Columbus, going to people saying, hey, like Iowa might actually be a legit playoff contender. And I kind of got some, eye rolls because they don't respect Iowa up here. But I was like, look, like they're beating Wisconsin the same margin that Ohio State's beating Wisconsin. They beat Minnesota the same margin that Ohio State's beating Wisconsin. Like I said they've got a tough schedule at that point because I said they still had to play Oregon and USC and all that. I said, but man, if they went out, there's a legitimate chance. And all of a sudden, the next week they were ranked in the playoffs. And I mean, it was a lot of fun. It was tough. The loss to Oregon, you kind of felt it happen, and they come down and it was like, again, like I felt with so many Bears games. They go down and take the lead, and you're flying high, and you're just like, come on, hold it one time, and then Dante Moore hits that pass, and that was deflating. But I was watching that at a bar here in Columbus, and I got people to cheer for Iowa. I mean, I was full on cheering for Iowa there, and I got some people in the Ohio Bear bar to cheer for them too. And the USC loss was tough. So I mean, it was a tough season because of just how close they were to being right there with teams. But it was so much fun because we knew the narrative the last couple of years is that they couldn't play with ranked teams. That they were getting they got shut out 2 years ago against ranked teams. So it was nice that they were competing with them. Big picture wise, I don't know what it means in today's day, in today's college football era. They're going to have to find another quarterback now, and that is, do they go in the transfer portal again and try to find another guy? Do they try to recruit somebody? So I think we have to. We've always taken these seasons for granted as Iowa fans. These 8-4 seasons, these 9-3 seasons. Kirk has had the most. Was it the Iowa has joined? Was it Georgia? Ohio State, Georgia,
Alabama.
Is it Alabama? As the only teams that have had like 10. How many straight
8+
seasons?
wins, 10 straight seasons. 8+ wins, 10 straight seasons. Yeah. It's crazy.
So I mean, like we take those seasons for granted, but like I think we can't take them for granted anymore because it's so easy in today's day and age where you think you have a great crop of recruits, you lose them after a year because you can't pay them. You can't pay them what they want, and someone else is paying them. So let's just enjoy it. Like let's be 8-4 is on the scoff at. Wisconsin would love to be 8-4. Minnesota would love to be 8-4. There's a lot of football teams out there right now. Michigan State would love to be 8-4. I've always defended Kirk. I've always in terms of that because I've always been told that we settle for 8-4 at Iowa, and it's like no, we just appreciate what we have. So let's keep appreciating the fact.
You'd
that
be surprised. Some don't appreciate it like you do, Bobby. Trust me, according to my Twitter feed, sometimes I'm a Kirk apologist, and they need to do more than just winning. And mind you, during that 10-year stretch, there were several 10-win seasons. There were 9-win seasons. There's an 11-win season or two. Like it's just the whole thing that it's like, they just finished 8. No, that's at least 8 victories. It's been more than 8 victories several times. That's the low end of it as well. You are in the
Big Ten title game twice in the last 5 years. I mean, they got smoked in both of them, but they were in the Big Ten title game twice in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of Big Ten programs. There's a lot of programs in general that would love to have the successes Iowa's had under Kirk. So
I think next season is fascinating because I think they return some good players. I think they lose a lot, and I get that. But I think there's some really good young talent on the roster, and you don't know what it'll look like come next year because of the transfer portal. I do know they really like Jeremy Hecklinski. Hank Brown is there as well to compete with, and for a while he was the backup. Now it's Hecklinski is the backup, but I've had a lot of people rave to me about how good he's looked. He's mobile as well, which kind of seems to be what Tim Lester likes to do and like to have with the run pass option and his offense and all that kind of stuff. So before I let you go, you are in Columbus. It's the Buckeyes and the Hoosiers for a Big Ten championship. You probably know way more about Ohio State football than you ever imagined you would. Handicap this game for me. What are your thoughts? It's in Indianapolis, so probably a little home field advantage maybe for the Hoosiers, but the Buckeyes are going to travel well, and they're the number 1 ranked team in the country. Who wins this game, and what does it look like?
I think Ohio State wins. And I don't think it's particularly close. It might be close for a half. Look at Ohio State, Michigan was kind of tight for a while. Ohio State made some mistakes. The Sand interception early. You look at the Penn State game, that was close for a half. Just Ohio State's just too good everywhere. Their defense is the
What
best.
do you say to somebody who says they haven't played too many people besides Texas and Michigan?
They've beat the snot out of everybody they played.
I get you.
Like, they're,
Hey, talent-wise, I think they're the best team in the country.
The Texas game was their closest game. Like, and they had a little bit of adversity early in that Michigan game, figured it out. They've got if Jeremiah Smith and Cardinal Tate are completely healthy, you got the two best players and receivers in the country on that team. I think Julian saying, I think Fernando Mendoza should win the Heisman, but I think Julian saying, let me take that back. I think Fernando Mendoza will win the Heisman. I think Julian Sain should win the Heisman.
Wow.
The guy is incredibly accurate. He's smart. He makes a lot of good throws. Their running game is coming around. And just again, you go back to that defense. They lost so many first-round draft picks from last year, and they just reloaded. They've got probably at least three first-round draft picks on that defense, maybe 4. They're not allowing points. If Indiana had absolutely rolled Penn State, I think I would be a little bit more inclined to think it's going to be closer. But that Penn State game was inexcusable.
Yeah, but that's before Penn State became the disaster that they are.
Oh no, it was during the disaster.
No.
That was late in the season.
But they still had
the
Indiana Penn State.
That was late in the. That was like 4 or 5. What was it? 4 or 5 weeks ago.
That was before Iowa.
No.
Yes, it was. They were both undefeated going into the game.
Indiana. No,
Indiana.
Oregon's the team.
Oh, okay, Oregon. Yeah. You're right. Okay, you're right. No, the Indiana Penn State game was the same day as the Iowa Oregon game, I think, up in Iowa City. Yeah, it was just recently.
Yeah,
you're right.
And
they had the crazy catch to win it and all that kind of stuff. I understand what you're saying. But you can't look. I first and foremost, I agree with you. I think Ohio State's the most talented team in the country, and I think they're probably going to win the game. But there is something to be said that Ohio State beat Texas by 7. Texas has 3 losses. Then it's Grambling State, Ohio, at Washington, which might be the next toughest game that you've had to play. Minnesota's not good. Illinois is they've lost to Indiana by 1 million. At Wisconsin, who was a disaster at the time and still is. Penn State, which was a disaster. At Purdue, at Rutgers. You're home against Rutgers, home against UCLA. Like, it's been a really, really easy schedule for the Buckeyes. I think they still win, but I think their hardest game in the Big Ten was, at Michigan.
Yeah. At Michigan, at Wisconsin, or not Wisconsin, Washington, were their two toughest Big Ten games.
That's crazy.
Now,
they have not been tested in my mind.
They haven't. I don't think you're right on that. Now, the one thing that they'll say here is, like, Ryan Day has been basically kind of building to now, is what the way they kind of put it, is that they've learned that they can beat anybody, with 50, 60, 70% effort in terms of most of the Big Ten.
I think they prepare for 16 games every year because they're used to playing that.
Is.
Yeah.
That's what it is. They prepare for that. So it's like, we don't need to put 60 up on a team.
No, I agree. And that doesn't do anything for me. I'm just more impressed by Indiana going to Oregon and winning than anything that Ohio State's done.
Yeah. And that's, again, you talk about the Iowa. Iowa gives Indiana it's one of its toughest games of the year, and then Iowa gives Oregon one of its toughest games of the year.
Don't do this to me.
How good was Iowa? How close was Iowa to being that good?
I know.
Or the other way to look at it is, Indiana and Oregon are on the same. Indiana, Oregon, and Iowa are all on the same playing level, and Ohio State's just that much better than all of them.
Yeah, no, I think Ohio State wins. I think Indiana's a really good football team. I think Oregon can do some damage in the postseason as well. Bobby, what people just saw was a normal conversation between the two of us for so many years, except for probably less less foul language, if you will, every once in a while.
I'll say that's Ohio State conversation too. I think it's the most time we've ever talked about Ohio State in my life.
100%. And we agree, because I like this because I'm recording, or you're out there to everybody, so that you can't be mean to me and call me an idiot, which you've done many times, which I probably have deserved. So I've appreciated this. This has been a lot of fun. We'll catch back up with you with Ohio State, because they're going to be doing a lot over the next month, and then everything in between. I'm so happy for you and your Bears.
Well, thank you.
No, I don't mean that.
I was not like upset about you and your Lions when they were so good last
I agree.
year.
And many Bears fans have told me, I don't hate the Lions. I get it, but I grew up here, and this is Bear country. And so I had to deal with Bears fans my whole life. And my thing with the Bears, and I don't get into another whole thing, is the Lions and Bears are no different. Like, they've both been a bad franchise for a long time, except for 85, which is a long ass time ago, and then maybe a Super Bowl and whatever. But like, I was always treated like the Lions were like the worst team ever. And I'm like, well, you're not good either. You're not doing anything. So that's and I just grown up. I get the Bears not liking the Packers more, and I get the Bears not liking the Vikings more. I understand all. But for me personally, growing up in the Quad Cities and being around a lot of Bears fans, I just don't like the Bears. But I'm always right about the Bears. That's the beauty thing. I might not like them, but my opinions, and we can go back through the decades, are always 95% right. So every once in a while I get one wrong. With that being said, I got to let you go. I'm not even going to let you read. I'm not
the source on that one, though.
All right, buddy. We'll catch up again soon. I appreciate you.
All right. Yep.
All right. Bobby Metcalf, familiar face here in the Quad Cities. I'm talking some Bears, some Iowa football. He's right, too. Like, it was a fun season for Iowa fans, and I think that's as good of a football team that they've had at the University of Iowa in a while. And I think that's maybe makes things a little more frustrating that they didn't get more victories out of it, but it was a very enjoyable season, and I think it's going to be a really good Big Ten championship game. Of course, Bobby in Columbus, so he has the insight on the Buckeyes more than anybody else around here, so should be fun on Saturday as well. We got more to get to. You're watching OTA on a Tuesday right here in the Quad Cities. We'll be right back.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities, Tuesday, December 2nd. Thank you guys for joining us throughout the morning. It's been a fun morning, to say the least. we started things off with Chad Leistikow. Thanks to Chad for taking some time during an extremely busy time for him and talking everything from Iowa football now and in the future. Some Iowa men's basketball. They open tonight against Michigan State, and then some women's basketball as well, and his Bears. Everybody's talking Bears these days, which is okay. We also had Kedric Prince on talking Illini, so if you missed that, go check that out. And then always great to catch up with my good friend Bobby Metcalf. Great opinions, analysis. I'm usually right, and he's usually wrong, but no, it was a lot of fun to catch up with Bobby as well. A busy show tomorrow and for the rest of the week as well. Coming up tomorrow, Jake Brend will join us for his normal Wednesday Cyclone segment. We'll have our next guests as well. Trying to track down the Bear Cage, Nicholas Bear, and we'll look back at Iowa's first Big Ten game tonight against Michigan State and kind of look into the future a little bit as well. All that and more coming up tomorrow. Coming up on Thursday, Journey Houston, Iowa basketball standout, freshman up in Iowa City, and former Davenport North standout will join us on Thursday's show. So you'll want to make sure to be here for that. Excuse me. And then also a cool thing up at North Scott this year, their girls basketball program is being led by a pair of familiar faces. Carly Rucker, former North Scott great, back at the helm of her alma mater with her dad as her co-head coach, Paul Rucker. So we're going to catch up with both of those guys coming up on Thursday as well. We'll have Tom Kakert throughout the week. Catch up with John Bonenkamp again too. Usually on Fridays. Just a quick programming note. No show this Friday. I got some things I got to get done and taken care of, so no show coming up this Friday. We'll be back on Monday as well, but a lot to get to tomorrow and Thursday on Off the Air. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It was a fun show once again, and we'll see you guys back here for another episode coming up tomorrow. We'll see you then.